I've been doing a lot of 3D printer mainboard testing lately, so I thought this month it'd be interesting to walk through some of the options you have available to you for upgrades, as well as some of the stock boards that you might see in a machine you have already. If you have semi-decent hardware, even something like an Ender 3, swapping out to a higher-end mainboard can completely change the way your printer operates and sounds. So let's start by walking through some of the 8-bit options, and then we'll move to the 32-bit boards. So we'll start around an ANET or a Tron XY board, something you might see in a lower-end machine. So this is what I call the classic red board. This one did come out of a Tronxy machine, but ANET uses one that's really similar. A lot of people refer to this design as the Melzy. The original Melzy is a little different than this, but basically a Melzy means everything's integrated into one board. That makes it different from the traditional ramp shield sandwich combo that you see. Almost always the drivers are integrated, and sometimes you do get a trim pot that you can adjust them with, but not always. Most of the times there's no extra pins exposed, so you really can't do much there. They usually are compatible directly with LCD screens. Sometimes they have a card reader on board, sometimes that's supported by the LCD. All your MOSFETs will be on board as well, and a lot of times this is the 128 processor, so there's very little memory available on these boards. I would say the Creality machines, they have a board in them that's just a step up from this. It is a little better board than this red board, but not much. And then we go to something like the classic Ramps board. Ramps is still tried and true. Ultimachine still does make the original Ramps board, although it is a bit pricey. You can get these clone boards with a Mega and a Shield for around $9 sometimes. The nice part about the Ramps board is you have all these extra pins exposed, so you can get really creative on adding mods to your 3D printer. But there's a lot of downside. These MOSFETs are super unreliable, especially the one that supports the bed, as well as these polyfuses can be a real pain. You can use whatever driver you would like with the Ramps. You can even integrate with these other pins and use a smart driver like a 2130. And if you have the smart adapter, you can add the LCD, but it does take up all these pins and the AUX3 pins over here. For testing purposes, the Ramp still really isn't all that bad of a deal, although with the knockoffs, the reliability is somewhat sketchy. Now with Ramps, there are a few different types of shields. This is the 1.4, the most common that we've seen for a couple of years. But then you have something like the 1.6. Now they have upgraded some of the connectors for the power and the bed, which is nice, but they've switched out the MOSFETs to a little different style that are lower profile, and they give you this Omni heatsink to go over all of them. Pretty much everything else is the same as the 1.4 Ramps. It's just a bit of an upgrade from the 1.4. Now there are some of these 1.6 Plus that have integrated SPI for using some of the smart drivers. This isn't one of them, but they are available out there. Again, these are super affordable. This shield might be less than $15 sometimes. Then we're going to step up to something like this. This is a G-Tech GT2560. What they've done is they've combined the Mega and the Ramps all in one board to try to make a little more convenient offering. I have altered this one quite a bit. This is a really old board. You do get the 2560 chip, just like on the Mega Ramp sandwich, so you have a little bit more memory than something like a Melzy. But it does combine everything like a Melzy. You've got all your onboard stuff. There's no more sandwich mode like in a Ramps. You do get these micro fuses, which are kind of handy, but really hard to replace. You can select whichever driver you would like. There is 5 of them available. And you get all your min and max pins and a couple of sets of fan pins, but no open pins really that you can play around with. These are somewhat affordable. You can get them for around $40. There's probably not a lot of room for these boards on the market given some of the other boards that are out, but I just wanted to show you this as an example. And just to throw it in here, this is a board off of a Wham. This is what I would call the classic Melzy. Even the same shape as a lot of the old school Melzys. Everything's built into one. You have all your drivers, a few trim pots. Wham does use this crazy plug to integrate with their printers, but this is what you can expect on a Melzy type board. You see these all over the place, or at least you used to. Then you move into something like this. This is an MKS board. This is the 1.4, but it's really close to the newer Gen L version. They're 8-bit processors. It's a 2560 chip, just like Ramps. You get to select whichever drivers you want. They are replaceable. You get all the max and min pins. You get a couple of different thermistors, and they are directly integrated with LCD screens. They usually do have better power plugs on them, and you get all the open pins, same as Ramps, but you don't have to take up AUX 3 to use that LCD in most cases. These are pretty good middle-of-the-road boards. They cost around $40, and you can do a lot with them. Reliability might not be awesome, but they are really versatile for the money. And then we start spending some money. This is the Ultimachine Mini Rambo. It is still an 8-bit board, a 2560 processor. It's a condensed version of the full Rambo. The full Rambo board has all the pins you could ever want, the same as ramps. It's all integrated on the same board, and it's a much larger size. This has been cut down to fit a smaller form factor. You don't get very many open pins to play around with, but this does get the job done, and it's very high quality. It does have integrated steppers. These are A4982s, which is not a bad stepper, but just a touch noisy. The Mini Rambo still does have the clip type power and bed options, but the stepper driver voltage is PWM, so you can control it in software, as well as you get a fan port that's controllable that way as well. So that means at a certain temperature, you can turn the fan on and off, and that pin will support it. The Mini Rambo 1.3 does support LCD screens natively on board. And this is the same board that the Prusa Mark II used for years. It is just a great all-around board if you don't need a lot of different options or multiple extruders. Very nice, but a little pricey. And then we have the Ultimachine Einzi, which is just an upgraded version of the Mini Rambo. But there's a lot of bells and whistles. This is the same board that enables all the smarts for the Prusa Mark III. The big deal is these 2130 Trinamic stepper drivers. You get all kinds of options when you upgrade to these. It still does have the 2560 chip, it's 8-bit, and you are limited on memory compared to a 32-bit, but most of the time Marlin works great with these. These are about the same price as a Mini Rambo, but again, you get the 2130s, which has stall guard for end-stopless homing, as well as they have Stealth Chop available, which makes your printer super silent while still running smoothly. More upgrades on the Einzi, you still do have the clip-type connector for the extruder, but you get all the screw-down terminals now for the bed and the power. This is much more reliable than the Mini Rambo. You're not going to burn these up. So that takes you from low to high end on the 8-bit boards, from about $20 to $110. You can spend more if you wanted to go with like a full Rambo board. That has a lot more pins available and it's a lot more versatile. But 8-bit for the most part, if you're using a Cartesian machine, is just fine nowadays at this speed. You can get some really fancy options like 2130s, and you don't have to go to 32 and try to configure it. Now let's look at 32-bit boards. This is the Panikit Rearm board. It's a 32-bit processor. It has an LPC 1768. The nice thing about this board is the cost. It's only about $45, and it's a direct replacement for your Mega, other than some of the voltage pins. You have to get kind of creative with your LCD screen. But you can still take advantage of your ramp shield with this board, and you get the advantages of 32-bit processing. So for less than about $60, you could jump into 32-bit and give it a try. All the code is written onto an SD card like most 32-bit boards, and you can power it with 12 volts from this socket if you'd like. Then we start to see these boards hitting the scene. These are only $20. They're MKS 1.3 boards. They have the same processor, an LPC 1768, as a Rearm does, and you get everything consolidated all in one. These are even compatible with SPI 4-active drivers, or the smart drivers. You get blade fuses, again the SD card reader, LCD onboard controlled, and a lot of the extra pins that you would see on ramps. I hate to say it, but for $20, why not check out one of these boards? Now we start to get just a little bit crazy. Here enters the Duet Wi-Fi. First off, the processor on these are an Atmel SAM 4E8E. That's a 120 MHz ARM Core-X M4 processor. That's some serious stuff for a main board. You get 5 2660 Trinamic drivers, which are super quiet. You get the upgraded power connectors. You can power multiple extruders and Z. You have multiple fan ports. You have a few open pins. Unfortunately, the Duet doesn't support very many different screens. You can't just slap an LCD on Duet. You have to use their panel Do, which is kind of pricey. That is the biggest downside that I see to Duet currently. You have your Wi-Fi module over here. You have your SD card reader. That's where you're going to store all your firmware. Of course, a blade fuse, which is always good to see. On the Duet, it does offer 2 extruders by default, but Duet offers a breakout X board that will take it up to even more. I'm not sure how many the Duet can do with that breakout board, but E3D does use that configuration for their tool changer. And tool changer has 4 heads by default, but it also does a lot of other things that the Duet handles no problem. This board is a really cool board. I just wish it was supported directly in Marlin. Maybe we'll see that someday soon. And also a board that's in that range, it is a 32-bit processor. It's an Atmel ATS AM3X8E. It's not widely as accepted as the Duet board is. It does run Marlin, but it's an Ultimachine Arkham. This is the 1.0 version, but the 2.0 version is out right now, and they are the same price. They're right at $170, same as the Duet. The downside to the 2.0 version was it has these 8825 drivers. They are 32 times microstepping, but they're not known for being the best quality driver out there. It doesn't have Wi-Fi, it does have a lot of open pins. As with most 32-bit boards, you have your SD card slot. It has 5 stepper drivers by default. It does still have the clip-type power connectors rather than the screw-down terminals. But definitely a high-end board, and it is directly compatible with Marlin, and so is the 2.0 version. It's going to be really interesting to see going forward what Ultimachine does with this board now that they have 2130s. So there's a look at a couple of the boards that are out there. There are a ton of them, but a lot of them are going to be similar to the boards that I show you today. So what board do you need for your upgrade project? Of course, I can't tell you that because I don't know what you're working on, and I don't know your processing power requirements. But what I can tell you, if you're upgrading from the stock board, maybe on a Cartesian machine, an Ender 3 or a CR10, start slow and work your way up. Maybe grab something like this MKS board for 40 bucks and some 2208s. You'll be stunned about how that upgrades your printer. It's going to get a lot more quiet, and maybe you'll get a little better performance. There's no need to jump into something like a Duet at $170. It's just way overkill for that machine. A big thanks to all my Patreon supporters. These videos are just for you, and I'll see you on the next coffee break.